Hey guys, and welcome back to Now I Know. Today's video is on Agarose gel electrophoresis. This is one of the most widely and commonly used technique in the labs, and we used to perform this almost every day when we were doing our PhD. So this is one of the most basic and widely used technique that we all should know about. So let's begin. As the name itself suggests, it's an electrophoresis, gel electrophoresis. What do this mean? We have talked about this a lot in previous videos also, but briefly, because it is done in a gel, the samples are run on a gel and it uses electric current, it is electrophoresis. So basically, gel electrophoresis is a technique for molecule separation, which is based on molecule size in a given sample. What do I mean by that? Let's say, for example, I have a sample of DNA, RNA, or protein that could have different sizes of molecule in it, right? Let's say, for example, it's a DNA sample. I could have different sizes of DNA in this particular sample, right? And I want to separate this sample, maybe understand what is the size of the sample, or I know what particular size my sample is and I want to isolate that particular sample. I'm going to separate it with the help of gel electrophoresis. Now, before we go ahead, here's an important information for you all. If you're preparing for GATE 2021 exam, Unacademy has got a free test for MSc learners. For life sciences, mock test is happening on 9th January at 10 a.m. It will also include the general aptitude. That's the best part of it. It is completely free. You can use my code NOTE10 to access this free test. So make the complete use of it, advantage of it, and make sure you appear for this. And in case for those who are preparing for CSIR NET 2021 and have missed the batches of Unacademy that has started, which covers the complete course, for you there's a new batch that has started on 5th of January, which covers the complete course of CSIR NET. In case you have missed it, join in now so that you can start preparation along with the classes. Those classes that you have missed, you can also see the recorded version and use my code NOTE10 to get 10% discount on your subscription. Remember to use my code NOTE10 for a discount as well as to access any of the free classes and tests that are available. Okay, so gel electrophoresis is a technique for molecule separations based on its size. It can be DNA, RNA, or protein. And specifically, we are talking about agarose gel electrophoresis in this video. So basically, gel electrophoresis could be agarose or polyacrylamide gel. Based on the sample that we are working with, we are going to decide. If we are working with a sample, let's say for example DNA and RNA, which is larger compared to a protein or small fragmented DNA, we need a gel that has a larger pore size. In that case, we are going to use agarose. And if we want a smaller pore size, we are going to use polyacrylamide gel. This we will have a look in the another video. But in this polyacrylamide gel, the pore size is smaller compared to agarose gel, where the pore size is significantly bigger than the polyacrylamide. So for DNA and RNA, basically we are going to use agarose gel electrophoresis. Now, based on the what size of DNA that we are dealing with, what approximate size of our sample it is, we are going to make a agarose solution, maybe from 0.8 to 2%, depending on the what kind of sample it is. So your pore size can be bigger or smaller based on type of sample that you are going to use. Now, when it comes to agarose gel electrophoresis, what are the steps? The first thing we are going to do is we need a sample, right? What are we going to use? What are we going to separate? We are going to separate, let's say for example, you're working in a lab and you have a DNA sample, or you have some gene of interest that you want to identify, or you have run a PCR for your DNA sample and you want to see whether the gene of interest has been multiplied or not, or you want to isolate a particular gene and go for further work in case of recombinant DNA, for example. So that is what my sample. I will isolate my sample from my source and I'll have DNA or gene of interest, or I may have run PCR and I have the PCR product ready. The first thing we are going to do is, after we have the sample ready, we are going to prepare the agarose gel. We need a gel, right? In case of agarose gel, basically how this gel is made, you have the agarose powder. This is commercially available, so you don't have to do anything here. You just weigh what amount of agarose you need. Remember, we just talked about the percentage of agarose will vary depending on the solution. So what is the amount of agarose you need? That much amount you weigh, that much powder you weigh, and you mix it with TBE or TAE buffer. These are the either one of the buffer. Basically, TAE is preferred over TBE. This is the buffer that we are going to make the solution with. So agarose powder plus TBE or TAE buffer, we are going to boil it, because the agarose cannot directly dissolve in this. You need to boil it, and then you will get a clear solution where the agarose is melted in buffer. Basically, this TBE buffer is tris borace EDTA buffer, and TAE is tris acetate EDTA buffer. So as I said, TAE is preferred over TBE. Basically, tris base and acetate that will maintain the neutral pH, and the EDTA in both the cases that we use is a chelating agent. That means it chelates the Mg plus 2 magnesium, which is a cofactor for DNAs, right? So what happens, you don't have Mg plus 2, your DNAs cannot work, and thus you protect your DNA in the sample. So that's why you use EDTA. So now you have agarose gel with your buffer. You boil it and make a clear solution of agarose. So you have your molten agarose. Now, at this particular stage, when your agarose is boiled, you let it cool down to up to maybe 50 degrees centigrade. Okay, it's in a beaker. You guys know I'm not that good in drawing, but let's assume this is our agarose clear solution, which is about 50 degrees centigrade. Now at this particular stage, what we are going to do is we are going to add ethidium bromide in it. Okay, we are going to see why ethidium bromide towards the end, but remember, when it reaches to 50 degrees centigrade, we are adding ethidium bromide over here. Now this solution, we are going to pour it in a gel casting tray, right? You must have seen the whole setup of that agarose gel electrophoresis, having electric box over here to pass the current, and it has anode and it will have cathode and anode, and you will have a plastic tray. Here the comb will be there to make the well, okay, where you can load the sample. So once you have this mix ready, you just add it in the tray and let it cool down and solidify. Okay, you will place your comb here, pour the gel and allow it to solidify. Once it cools down, you remove the comb, so you have your wells ready. Now you have to load the sample. Now before you load the sample, you need to prepare the sample, because you can't directly take the DNA that you had isolated and just load it. You need to prepare it. What do I mean by that? Generally, we do it on a parafilm. We just paste a small parafilm like this on the slab, and we take the sample and mix the sample with bromophenol blue dye, or what is called loading dye, because it will give it a blue color. So we add the bromophenol blue dye plus glycerol. We mix our sample with bromophenol blue dye and glycerol. Bromophenol blue dye definitely will help us to see. Once we run the electrophoresis, we can see the bands traveling. Where the bands have traveled is because, we see the blue color dyes generally. That is because of the bromophenol blue dye. You can see the passing of the bands that has occurred. So when it comes towards the end, we know that, the electrophoresis is done and we can switch off the electric current. And glycerol we add because it gives the viscosity, it gives the density to the sample. What happens is, generally in the sample, DNA is really lightweight, and if you directly add it or directly load it in the well, when buffer is there, it will easily float out and come out of the well. So in order to give high density, you are going to add the glycerol. It will increase the density of a sample, and the DNA will sit down in the well and make sure that DNA doesn't come out of the well. So that's how you prepare the sample. And once the sample is ready, you're going to load it. Now when you load it, the first well, we have talked about this in the blotting methods also, the first well is going to be of your ladder, or your marker. That means the DNA sample, or commercially available ladder, where the sizes of the fragment, they are known. Okay, what is the sizes of a fragment, because you're going to compare your sample with this particular ladder or a marker. So first well is going to be your ladder, and from second, third, fourth onwards will be your sample. Now the well is going to be towards the cathode side, towards the negative side, because we know DNA is negatively charged, and when you give the current, it will travel towards the positive charge. Right? Simple enough. From negative, the DNA will pass and goes toward the positive. And when it is passing through the gel, based on their size, the next step is electrophoresis. So when you apply the current after loading, based on their size, the DNA will get separated. Smaller the DNA fragment, faster it will travel and farther from the well it will be, right? So these are the lightweight, these are the small size. And the large size DNA will be slow and it will be near to the well. Why? Because the pore size, if it is large amount of DNA, it will be difficult for them to go through the pores and move. But if it is a small size, it can easily just pass through the pores and move faster. So based on the size of the DNA, it will be separated. Once you see the bands have reached almost towards the end, we are going to stop the electric current. That's about 1.5 hour process. You don't leave it unattended. You need to keep an eye on your process. Now once it is done, now we have to analyze the gel. So now almost the last step would be gel analysis, one of the very crucial part, like what has happened. You need to have a look. Now for that particular analysis, we are going to put our gel under the UV light. Okay, and don't worry, this UV light is not intensive. It's going to be low intensity and for a very brief amount of time, so it doesn't damage the DNA. So you're going to put it under the UV light. Now you remember we added the ethidium bromide in the agarose preparation. This is why we added ethidium bromide. If you guys remember, ethidium bromide is intercalating agent. That means it can insert itself between nitrogen bases in the DNA, and when the UV light hits this particular ethidium bromide between the DNA, nitrogenous base, it's going to give us the fluorescent. Okay, so you can see the fluorescence coming out, the shining bands under the UV light, and that will show the presence of DNA. That's why we add ethidium bromide. It's an intercalating agent and it will help us to analyze the gel. Now once based on whatever is your DNA, wherever is your DNA of interest that is present, now comes the next step. From here you can either identify what is the size. From this ladder you will know, let's say for example I'm working with, this is the 100 kilo base pair over here, and the band that I want is this. So this is 100 kilo base pair. Maybe I didn't know the size of the band, I can calculate over here. Maybe I know what is the size and I'm looking to isolate or purify, so I'm going to elute it from the gel. So there is a next protocol that we do is gel elution. That means we take out the band from the gel by eluting it and take over for the further experiment. That also is something that we do in research. So you can identify the size, or you can identify whether your DNA or gene of interest is present or not. If it is, if you want to isolate, you can isolate. Once we run the PCR many times just to understand whether we have amplified a gene of interest or not, we just run the sample of PCR in the gel to understand whether our PCR is successful or not. So that's why the gel electrophoresis is widely used method in lab, and it's easy to understand and it's very interesting to run also. And it's one of the thing that if you are planning to go into research, you would be expected to know. And I'm sure even in post graduation we are taught gel electrophoresis. So for this particular video we are stopping here with the agarose gel electrophoresis. Maybe in the next video we will cover SDS page also. So that's all for now. I hope this video was helpful. In case you have any doubt, you can let me know in the comments or reach out to me on my Instagram and DM me, and I'll try to get back to you. So that's all for now. I hope this video was helpful. Do subscribe to the channel for new video every week, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep learning.